Welcome to the Big Fat Gay Podcast, where we talk about the things that are weighing on our minds. My name is Dan Oliverio, author, public speaker, and chubby chaser. And today I'm a blissed out weekend boy. It's a good weekend. I'm seeing a concert tonight. And you know what's on the calendar tomorrow, gentlemen? Nothing. Love that so much.
I'm Trevor Keyson. I'm a super chub, and I'm a Saturday morning raspberry Pop-Tart boy. It's the weekend. I got my coffee, I had a raspberry Pop-Tart, and I am ready to chew the fat with all of you.
Hi, my name is Michael Willer. I'm a chubby chaser, and today I'm a pre-vacation lazies boy. I have been getting absolutely nothing done because I'm going on vacation next week. I'm very excited. We're going on a cruise. It's going to be awesome. I'm just going to do the whole all right, bye everybody. Unplug my phone, leave it behind, not checking anything, disappearing from the face of the planet.
And a week later, you're coming into shore again back in Long Beach like, hey, what are those flames on the countryside?
Hey, my name's Don. I'm a big chubby guy living here in sunny Hollywood. And while my life is not as exciting as Michael's this week. Today I am a domestic boy. I am, when we are done with our recording, I should have a fresh baked loaf of bread waiting for me that I made. And I'm planning on my cooking experiment today is going to be bagna cauda.
What's that?
Oh, that's Italian, yeah.
Yeah, it's an Italian anchovy garlic dip. For the fresh bread. I'm very excited.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
Good. Yeah.
We just want to thank all our patrons and our partners. Remember, you can save 15% off your bearskin order with our promo code BigFatGayPod. Or you can get yourself a mattress using our Big Fig link from our website. Join our Discord, sign up for our newsletter. Well,
Blow your nose.
Blow your nose. I'm sorry. I'm going to do that again in case we don't want to use that.
That was so loud. It was like a goose.
Join our Discord. Sign up for our newsletter. Y'all know this.
Yeah.
Just go to our website for more details if you want. Also, remember that on October 29th, that's when the episode will drop, we will be discussing Shaun of the Dead.
Yay!
In celebration of Halloween and spooky season.
And if you are not a horror movie person, Shaun of the Dead is a fun one to watch.
That's why I'm watching. Give
it a shot. It is a horror comedy starring Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. So very worthwhile.
I would almost even just call it like a romantic comedy with horror themes. Yeah. It's not really scary at all, but it has the sort of end of the world backdrop to it.
Yeah.
Let's get into some pop culture, baby.
That's right. Pop that culture.
Reel in the goose. Let the penguins loose. So this week in pop culture, we have Harvey Guillén bursting back out into the scene, talking about Oh, Mary, the Broadway show, which won a bunch of Tonys. And he is pitching himself for the lead role of Mary Todd Lincoln. So for those of you who don't know, Oh, Mary is a show that came out last year on Broadway from the mind of Cole Escola, who wrote and stars in this show about Mary Todd Lincoln in the weeks leading up to her husband's assassination, and just kind of her struggling being on the sidelines. In this, she's a former cabaret singer, and her husband is clearly gay, and it's just kind of her going through it. And Cole Escola won the Tony for Best Actor for this, and it was historic because Cole is non-binary. And since the show opened, there have been several.
They have an all-star cast of people playing this role
that rotate through as the lead,
including Betty Gilpin, who you might know from Glow, Titus Burgess, Jinx Monsoon. Jane Krakowski is about to step into the role. But right now, Hannah Soloway, who is a fat actress and has been the long-term understudy, is getting to kind of step into the spotlight for a couple weeks.
Oh, wonderful.
That's awesome.
And what I just love about this is I love fat actors manifesting things for themselves, but also just looking at this show and who's been in it and just kind of taking a historical figure who was very kind of marginalized, Mary Todd Lincoln, first lady who really went through it and then was kind of mocked for what she went through after her husband's assassination.
Yeah.
Oh.
If you go down the list of the things that she lived through, the chick was a survivor.
Oh, yeah.
But also just so Harvey saying this, I'm like, oh my God, this is like the perfect kind of like fat actress role. Like I was thinking Octavia Spencer would be amazing in this.
Oh God, she'd be
that would be so cool.
Adie Bryant.
Yeah.
Dan, I also thought of because Dan was watching Mr. Robot.
Oh, yeah.
And Ashley Atkinson.
She is wonderful. And in Mr. Robot, she plays basically the very homey Midwestern neighbor, and she's got cats and she wears sweaters, and she manages a team of assassins. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Janice is her character.
Janice.
Yes.
Yeah. She's wonderful. Just wonderful.
People also probably know her from The Gilded Age, which I have not seen yet. She plays Mamie Fish in that. But I just love that this show from Coley Scola, who I discovered they were in Amy Sedaris's, her like homemaking show.
Amy Sedaris at Home?
Yes.
The germ of this story was that Harvey Guillén is pitching himself for the role of Mary Todd Lincoln in
Yes.
Mary. Harvey Guillén is probably most famous for his work as a young man in a lot of the Disney TV shows, but most famously now for What We Do in the Shadows in the role of Guillermo.
Yeah.
Yes, which just wrapped last year. Was it last year or was it earlier this year?
You're asking
Who
me.
knows? Like
Time is a fat circle.
time is once again a flat circle.
Yeah.
This is something I want to see manifested and come to life. And I also want to manifest for other fat actors to step into this role as the show goes on, and probably I think is going to be touring at some point. I mean, this show could go on forever.
It's gotta be.
Yeah, it's a huge hit, so why wouldn't it?
I don't actually know this. Maybe Trevor, do you? I believe it's a one-person show, or am I wrong?
No, it's I mean, it basically is because there are some other characters. There's, Mary's husband.
Oh, yeah, that's right. 'Cause she was married to some guy, right?
Oh yeah, that tall guy with the hat, right?
Yeah. And by the way, in case you're wondering, there is a lot of scholarship on the possibility that Abraham Lincoln might have been gay
Yeah.
and a vampire killer.
So it's not just like, historical rumors. But
Although
like,
if you do the deep dive, it like really is just a discussion though. Like
Yeah,
there's no real, like no one's sure one way or the other.
It really has to do with how you interpret the word gay and what you consider male relationships to be like at that time. And it gets a little woolly.
But so there's 3 or 4 other characters, but they're mainly just like set pieces for Mary Todd Lincoln.
well, moving from one area of the world of fat entertainment, let's get into our Fat Watch.
Yay!
Fat Watch 2025.
25. We have an article in Upworthy by Evan Porter titled Plus Size Figure Skater with Unreal Moves is Inspiring Girls Everywhere. So this is focusing on the figure skater Lane Dubin, who has been posting videos of herself performing on TikTok. And as a plus size woman, it totally flies in the face of what everyone would expect, much like ballet, of somebody who's doing figure skating. It's this sort of, classically like very dainty people, women and men and anyone else doing these kinds of, athletics. And she's this plus size woman. And not only is she, obviously incredibly talented, but like radiates through the camera, like the joy of the performance. And so she's doing these like, I don't know, like maybe I don't watch enough figure skating, but like it, to me, it's just like, it's mesmerizing. You're just watching her like spin and like slide across the ice.
I watched 2 routines by her and both of them were just gorgeous, gorgeous, but fun.
Yeah.
They weren't just elegant and pretty and lovely. She has a lot of personality that comes across while she's performing too. And I couldn't help but compare her to what we saw at the New York Fashion Week with the ballerina in our last episode, where she just glided across that catwalk. Watching this athlete spin on the ice was just beautiful.
I love it. Is vigorous. Like, it's like, fuck Grace. Fuck Grace. I'm here to be. And it's like, it's so vigorous and dynamic. And it makes you fall in love with it.
That's what I noticed is there's this grace, but also just like the physicality and the understanding the physics of a large body and the force. And like, I was looking at other videos of hers and just like the spinning.
Yeah, I think I know what it is. She's not trying to do it their way.
Yeah.
She's doing it the way that works for her. And it's that much better because of it.
And I will say, like, she seems to have a bit of a signature move because I watched 3 videos of her, I think. And I think in at least 2 of the 3, drops to her knees and slides across the ice.
Yeah.
And
with her back on the ice.
and the
Complete
distance.
leaning back so that her shoulder blades are on the ice behind it.
It's
I can't even fathom being that flexible.
Gorgeous.
And the comparison I make is if you normally think of ballet dancers as like Ferraris or Lotuses or Maseratis, she is a GT in first gear. She's like,
just revving. Yeah. But it's incredible because she's got, originally she was a standout at the university where she was figure skating, and then afterwards was posting, more social media videos just to kind of keep track of her progress, but immediately blew up because you don't see people like her typically doing this type of sport. Mm-hmm. And it is inspiring.
It's worth checking out her TikTok. I don't know about Instagram. All the videos are from TikTok, and that's where I ended up. And there's just so many amazing videos of her in different dresses. There's one where it's like this kind of the like slippish dress under it, but then this transparent embroidered dress that just like is so beautiful, and especially with how she moves. But then there was another video of her at a fashion show skating event, which I did not know was a thing. And she talks about basically it was like she got asked to come to this thing, which was a fundraiser for the families and survivors of the 2025 Potomac River midair collision. Right. I never would have known that there was like ice skating fashion shows.
Yeah.
And the fact that like we have ice skating fashion shows with body diversity for such a good cause. Because I didn't realize until after I saw that and read about that. There was a team, like a group of skaters on that plane. It was skaters and their, young girls and their families.
American skating luminaries died on that crash.
Yeah.
It was an enormous blow to the American ice skating world. Mm-hmm. Leaders in our competition, in our competitive teams went down. So
yeah. Even just in the thought process of in putting together this event being like, and we can have body diversity. Mm-hmm. It's just such a beautiful thing to see, and getting to see her experience of that.
I'm just trying to picture how many sequins it would take to make an ice skating themed fashion show. Oh my God. Oh my God.
So many sequins.
A quote from Lane herself. A lot of the article focuses on girls saying, oh my God, I feel so seen because now I know there's representation for me when I thought there was none. Mm-hmm. To which she says, it's just people seeing representation in the media of themselves being represented first. That's what will make people feel validated, and that's what will lead to change with body inclusivity in the skating space.
Perhaps it's time for us to pivot onto our main topic.
Knee slide into our main topic?
Yeah.
Since we are in October and it is our month of candy, we thought we might take a quick detour into the realm of being candied. For those of you who are not familiar with what that term means, it's something that we came up with on the show.
Actually, Don, you came up with it, and I love it.
Yeah.
Originally, what we ended up talking about is like so often you will walk into a situation and unexpectedly run into something negative that just makes it a terrible situation for you, even if nobody else notices. And we refer to that as being slimed. Mm-hmm. And we got so used to using the slimed term, we decided we needed something to represent the opposite.
The anti-slime.
Because, damn it, that happens too.
Yes.
We need to give it a name to encourage it to show up as often as humanly possible. And so the opposite of being slimed, we decided, was to be candied. To walk into a situation where maybe you're expecting something bad
and have molten sugar poured on you.
Yeah. No. To be showered with little wrappers filled with sugar goodness.
Those sun-kissed fruit jelly candies, so they don't hurt, because like Jolly Ranchers would hurt. Those like a nice individually wrapped soft candy.
So, for today, what are some experiences you've had where you got candied, boys?
I have a travel-related one.
Yeah, go for it.
So, we talk a lot about travel on the Big Fat Gay podcast, and we talk a lot about air travel and about being fat while traveling. And this isn't exactly breaking news, but it's new to me. So we were looking at a trip to New York, and we just found what is actually the largest class of seat in any domestic airline.
Okay.
It is JetBlue. And by the way, JetBlue Wow. I've just been noticing, I've been all over their website. Yes, you can buy 2 seats online. I was very impressed.
Okay.
They have a new first class option. They've had this thing called Mint. That's their name for the Mint class is their first class. Mm-hmm. And it's the Mint first class seat is, it's a first class seat for a domestic flight in America. It's not bad, but it's not that great. But they have this thing called now the Mint Suite. And the Mint Suite is that first class seat. So it's fully reclinable, flatbed. But it also has next to it, contiguous with it, another seat where you couldn't put a second passenger for takeoff and landing, but certainly it's meant for like business collaboration. Like you have the first class seat and your friend who has another first class seat comes over and you work together next to each other and have a table and a conference table. So it's actually a pretty big space. Oh. So what I was amazed by is because it's sort of a sweeping contiguous seat plus bench, and the bench is maybe at a 45 or 30 degree angle. So imagine a recliner chair and then imagine the hassock sort of jutting off at a 45 degree angle. So you could possibly spill into that extra room. Okay. This is not a cheap option, but it's not nearly as expensive as you would think for, a lot of other first classes. It is the cost of a first class ticket plus, I think, just a $200 upgrade for this suite feature. There are 2 suites on the planes that have it. Not every plane has it. And it's for domestic transcontinental flights. And I was just so candied to see, number one, you can book in coach, 2 seats for 1 passenger without talking to anybody, without it being weird. And we're going to try it out. We're going to get a report if this works for Trevor.
Yeah, I'm nervous about it. I'm
nervous about it too because it's untested.
Are there razor blades in this candy?
No, it's untested because there are a lot of other little logistical issues that could crop up. It is the very first seat in the plane, so it's not like you have to get down an aisle.
I mean, that's ideal.
Yeah, that's ideal. But anyway, I'm very, very optimistic and just thrilled that this even exists because it is the largest domestic seat in the air.
Yeah, that's a good tip because with Southwest going the way they're going, I mean, it's not going to replace the Southwest policy, which was extremely affordable on top of being extra space. But, I think that is good to know about, certainly. And our plane travel is probably going to become even more limited. But with that, maybe we'll get a nicer seat for the one time we fly instead of 3.
Mm-hmm. That's a thought.
I don't know. I have, I guess, a seating related candying.
Okay.
So I talked about this a little on the podcast, or at least certainly behind the scenes. Last month, I had my colonoscopy, which I went to Cedars-Sinai for, and even just all the steps to the colonoscopy were very stressful because I just was encountering a lot of medical fat phobia, or at least certainly lack of accommodation. And the actual going to the hospital for the procedure and stuff, I was just so pleasantly surprised that I went to, the check-in waiting room, whatever. There was a lot of weird check-in stuff, but all of the rooms had size accessible seating where there was standard size chairs with arms. But then there would always be at least one very large version of that, where it's basically a double wide seat.
I've been seeing that more and more, actually.
Yeah.
With as much time as I've been spending in doctors' offices.
But in thinking about that, there was also just they weighed me before the procedure. The nurse didn't say anything. She didn't even tell me my weight. She just wrote it down. I normally just when I go to get weighed, I just can't. It's a whole thing of no, that's not going to work. And then they're trying to figure out what's wrong. It's no, just this doesn't, the scale can't weigh me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just realized that aside from a weird thing with the anesthesiologist, I didn't encounter any things where I don't fit in this bed, or this gown doesn't fit me, or whatever.
You did not encounter those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
And then also for Dan and I's anniversary, we got to take my mom to a last minute doctor's appointment.
Oh, that was fun.
Which I was dreading because historically, when I have had to accompany my mom to any kind of appointment, there's nowhere for me to sit.
Right.
And it's just I guess I will just stand in this waiting room. And Dan will be trying to problem solve, and that'll just be another little stressful thing for me. But this doctor's office, I think because it was Cedars-Sinai, had an extra wide chair. And I'm okay, I get to sit here. And it was a very long appointment, and I got to be comfortable. And it was it's such a stupid thing, but to get to experience like, oh, I just get to sit down and like, it's not a thing. And I don't have to be like, oh, do you have like a pallet of boxes I can sit on or something?
I know the doctor's office chair is something that like everyone hates, right? It's just awful. But I want to share another quick side observation about the doctor's office chairs where I go. When I first started going to Cedars-Sinai, they had these chairs that were sort of like a metal frame chair. It's all sort of like bars that are just going to cut into the fronts of your legs.
Is it that S-shaped chair? Or
it's sort of an S-shaped thing. But they had the added insult where the frame at the front of the chair would then cut in an extra inch.
Oh, great.
On either side. So it was just...
It just like narrow at the knees?
Yeah, it would narrow in at the front.
Yeah.
To cause maximum pain to those of us with large thighs, right?
What an idiotic design.
It was just the type of chair I always saw. And actually, I just sort of associated it with doctors' offices. I saw them everywhere. I kind of just realized when Trevor was talking about that, like, when they started installing some larger chairs in some of the doctor's offices, I think they got rid of those other chairs that hurt so much. I haven't seen them in a couple of years.
Why.
So, yay, just gratitude for things getting better. Just
yeah.
I don't know if mine's candying exactly, but this is a story I wanted to share because it sort of closes the loop on a lot of the stuff that I've been going through for the last couple of years that I've talked about on the podcast. So for those who don't know, 2020, I was playing soccer like many times a week. It was one of my favorite pastimes. And then, COVID hits and trying to get back into it, I ran into a bunch of like kind of sudden and unexpected like health problems, started kind of falling out of shape, started getting a lot of injuries that I couldn't really explain and basically just had to stop. And that's been, really frustrating and demoralizing and sort of had to make peace with that and find other ways to get exercise and like slowly try and get these problems solved. And, finally got to a point where I was like, okay, I can do the gym now. And like, that used to be a huge hang up for me. And that like, I was able to get over that and like kind of do it on my terms, and earbuds are the solution. Basically just don't fucking talk to me, 'cause I got my music going. That helps. But then recently, now that I am getting good sleep for the first time in a long time, I decided I think it's time. I'm going to try this out. And I started playing pickup soccer again.
Oh,
yay.
And I have played, I think, 6 or 7 games. I have not even come close to getting injured again.
Oh, wonderful.
My ankle feels so much stronger. And this is the part that I think was really specifically keyed into like our show and like weight. Playing pickup soccer, you see all kinds. You see like college kids who are maybe not good enough to play, but they're still like really good, all the way up to, adults who played as kids and, maybe they're kind of like super out of shape. But then like sometimes it's like, a really fat person who's like incredible and is like beating everyone on the field. And like, you just see all kinds. And because it's pickup, you can kind of just all play together. And a frustration that I have had with my own fitness is that, even though I was much fatter than I was when I, in 2020, when I was like probably the fittest I've ever been, I was still much thinner than other fat people playing who were doing way better than I was. And I was struggling and I didn't know why. And now that I can reflect and look back and go, oh yeah, because you had, 40 different health issues you didn't realize at the time that were affecting my ability to exercise. Now, being no different visually, I still look exactly the same as I did back then. I can now see how my body actually works the way that I would expect it to. Like, I'm actually able to sort of perform, even though I'm carrying a good 40 extra pounds than I used to. And like that I would expect to be able to do that, seeing that, other fat people have been able to play just fine. And it's sort of that like internal realization of like, oh yeah, like it's not about the weight. These were health problems that weren't being diagnosed or solved. That was the root of it.
It's almost like representation in a way, like you see it and therefore it exists.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was really cool to see like the other fat people on the field just going hard and like doing better than I was. And it was like admirable in the same way that it was also frustrating, because I was like, what's wrong with me?
Oh my God. I mean, for me, running is anathema. Like running to me is like, I would rather go to the dentist.
Yeah.
And just the beating that my body, it just feels wrong for my body because I'm big, I'm bulky, and running just sounds like the worst thing in the world. And then I see online, I see in the neighborhood, like fat people are running. I'm like, you go. I can't possibly do that. How do you do that?
Yeah. Whenever I go to the gym, I actually like lifting weights. I actually kind of do, but I wouldn't let myself do it because when I went to the gym, I was supposed to be doing cardio. So I would force myself to do cardio. Right. And by the time I was done with the cardio, I was done. I wouldn't be able to do the things I actually liked doing because I was exhausted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I just say, I've had a lot of fat boyfriends over the years and they all did cardio and they never lost an ounce. So that is not what cardio does.
It was more about the endurance, but still.
Yeah. Aerobics and cardio has a lot of benefits and losing weight is incidental to that.
My trainer used to make me start our sessions with cardio and I just eventually made him stop because I'm like, it is just wearing me out. And I'm like, I don't like it. I don't feel like it really does anything for me. And I would rather just like get winded lifting weights or something.
Well, yeah, because for you, anything you do in weight training is aerobic.
Yeah.
That's something I don't think they take into consideration.
No, they don't.
No, not a chance. They would have no idea. I think to close the loop on my story, I think one of the things that I really started to get through the last few years was, I've been very hard on myself my entire life over my physical fitness and have had a lot of hangups with that and a lot of internal I'm really struggling with this, even though all of my, fellow athletes are seeming to be able to play an entire game without having issues. And realizing as an adult, the stuff that I'm dealing with now, I've had many of these issues my entire life and never realized it, like asthma, for instance. And so in realizing, there are reasons for this beyond my control, or at least they were, and I can now turn off that self-blaming instinct.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic.
I can't do this. And so I just got to push through it. And now what I know is that we're still trying to figure this last issue out, but I still hit this wall, this fatigue wall, really quickly, within, if I do one sprint, I'm sort of done for a little bit. And that's a feeling I've had my entire life. I think we're working on the last sort of potential fix for that. But the point was, I now know, this is an issue that I deal with. I just need to take a little break. And I don't need to try and push harder or wear myself out or just power through because you'll be, just got to get fitter. That whole, you're just out of shape mindset, that self-blaming thing. I now just get that, okay, I can just take a little break. I don't have to try and push myself too hard. And then I recover and then I can do it again. And I can do that for an hour and 10 minutes.
Yep.
In the past, when I've had a couple different operations in my lifetime. And what I've discovered is that when I'm recovering from those injuries, for some reason, it impacts my endurance, even after I think I've sort of recovered. And so for months after the fact. So since you're going through so much sort of healing and recovery stuff right now, it might be that you are literally still healing from some of the stuff that you've been working on. So yeah, a little bit of patience with that as you're getting through this. That sounds amazing. I'm so happy for you. That's really cool.
Yeah. And that's, I think also what's preventing me from getting further injuries is just being patient, just saying the goal today is not get injured. And then everything else will be fun because I have fun playing soccer.
I wanted to talk about I don't want to say it's a recovered memory. It's a memory I kind of forgot about. I haven't thought about in years. And now I'm sort of thinking I should have been more grateful for this moment than maybe I was at the time. And this was the first time I did drag when I was 12 or 13 years old, I think.
Wow.
Halloween was always a big deal for me. I loved Halloween. And it wasn't just the trick-or-treating, it was the costumes, right? It was the activity of going out and being in costume with friends and doing things, right? And so I always wanted sort of bigger and better costumes, but they were always kind of masculine costumes. I don't think I was reaching for them specifically. It's just sort of what occurred to me. So I did an amazing Frankenstein one year with the green makeup and the square head and everything. I found my father's theatrical costume for when he was a child actor performing in The King and I. And so I dressed as the Prince of Siam, complete with a curved knife that nobody should have allowed me to have. I loved these costumes, but I forgot one year I decided I wanted to do the Medusa. And for the life of me, I don't know why my mother was okay with that. everything I know about my mom tells me she should have fought that tooth and nail.
She would have exploded, yeah.
Yeah, but she took me to a costume shop like an hour away from the house, and we rented a Medusa costume that year. Like,
there's such a thing. That's great.
Proper Medusa costume. It had a silk dress with like a Greek theme. Like, I mean, in my memory, it was silk. It was probably plastic, but and it had a rubber wig of snakes.
Sure.
Right? And I wore that costume to school.
Whoa.
At age 12, like I should have been mocked and ripped to shreds.
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
I think people thought the wig was cool.
Wow.
I went trick-or-treating in this costume and nobody gave me shit. And in retrospect, like, goddamn, that should have been like social suicide. But I just remember a really cool costume and a good experience that year.
Between 12-year-old peers and your mother. Yeah. Amazing.
I have a theory.
Yeah.
I think it is because Medusa is a monster.
Oh.
Medusa is not Mrs. Garrett.
Yeah.
Medusa is, she is scary. She is monstrous. It is not, I think there can be glamour to Medusa, but I think it is, you're not dressing up as
a woman.
You're dressing up as a monster.
Interesting.
I think that might be true, even though it was a monster in a dress, you know, like, but I got to say, like, again, just all of my memories of that year were great, you know, of just people loving the costume and people taking pictures with me. You know, I was a little fat kid in a snake wig, you know, like I must have been adorable, to tell you the truth.
That's great.
Who knew? And it's funny because I completely forgot. Yeah, I did drag as a 12-year-old.
Monster drag.
You know, so yeah, I'd like to think like, you know, if I go back through some of these memories, I might be able to find some other sort of moments of gratitude and grace that I overlooked in the moment.
I think that's human nature too.
Yeah.
Tend to focus on what went wrong. Sometimes things go right.
Yeah.
Do we have any tips for the day?
Get your Halloween candy.
Yeah, get your Halloween candy. Eat your Halloween candy while you watch Caleb Heron's special on HBO is now available to stream. So check that out.
And Shaun of the Dead.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes.
All right, what about a bit?
Our bit for the day is actually just a quick little mini conversation about surprise things you liked. You walk into situations, you have expectation, we're like, oh, this is going to suck. And then you take a bite of that dish you were expecting to hate, and it's delicious. You hear a song at a concert for a performer you expected to be awful, and it's freaking brilliant. What are some of these experiences that you guys have had? I've got 4 different categories. I'm just going to throw them out. If something comes to mind, sing out, Louise. All right. So in food and drink, is there something that you always thought you hated and then turns out like you loved? So for me, for example, I've told this story before online on the podcast. Brussels sprouts. I grew up with parents who boiled Brussels sprouts. Ugh. If they were feeling fancy, they might have steamed them. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out why anyone would eat these little blobs of fucking bitter death.
Mush. Yeah.
And then I went to, at work one year, it's like, I'm going to try and eat healthier. I went across the street to Bottega Louis, which still exists here in LA. I took a chance and I got a little serving of Brussels sprouts, brought it back to my desk, had it for lunch, and they were delicious. And I started having them every day for a month until I found out the reason why they were delicious was they were braising them in bacon fat and sugar every day. And they were, oh my God, are they good?
It's almost like they seasoned them.
Yeah.
As a kid, I saw a lot of stuff in like cartoons about Brussels sprouts being gross and like kids hating Brussels sprouts. So like as a bit with my aunt would make Brussels sprouts for holidays. And I was like, it'll be funny if I pretend to love Brussels sprouts. So I did this thing and I would just be like choking them down. And I'm like,
with a monkey's paw.
This is hilarious. And like, it was something for me, I guess.
It's something you can control.
Curiosity, did she end up making them that same way every year from that point on?
That's what I would be afraid of. Yeah. Like, oh, you like these? I make them all the time.
It was just boiled with butter.
I have a complete left turn from that one, but one that I think is kind of interesting in a dark way, maybe. So we have a couple friends we've made up here that we've been hanging out with a lot, and you know they a gay couple moved up from Texas. We absolutely love them, but they brought some of their Texas roots with them. They both like to go skeet shooting.
Oh wow!
Which, if you don't know, is you take a shotgun and you shoot at clay discs that are fired up into the air. It's supposed to mimic bird hunting, totally low stakes pastime. I had done this once when I was a kid. I was like 13 or 14. Didn't really remember it. It's not that I didn't think I was going to enjoy it. I just wasn't like, I have so much baggage with the whole like masculine gun shooting thing that like my dad kind of like, you know, took me shooting, and it was like one of those like, I don't think he ever thought like make a man out of him exactly, but like
father-son bonding.
Yeah. And it kind of feels like that when it's sort of not for you, but you do it anyway. And so we were going into this like, okay, this is going to be a fun thing we do with our friends. But in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, I still have some kind of emotional baggage with this though. And like, how's that going to go? And then we go, and then at first I'm kind of in my head and I'm doing okay. And then I'm really sucking. And then by the end, I start to get into this kind of like a zone, and I start to get into a flow with it. I'm like, oh, I'm starting to kind of get it. And then right when I got it, we had to stop. But it was fun. And I sort of got
you can do
over
it again.
that. Yeah.
You'll get into the zone faster next time.
It was kind of like reclaiming it in a way.
Yeah,
it was like
nice.
4 gay guys going out and doing skeet shooting because fuck it, why not? And also the world might end.
Was it a shotgun?
Yeah, they're shotguns.
Wow.
Yeah, it's bird shot. So it's very,
Well,
you know,
but
it's not.
I just got to ask, do you rent the shotguns like at mini golf?
You can. They own a couple.
Because I always play mini golf with a shotgun.
Yeah. They as one does.
That's what it does.
All right, moving on. TV and movies. Like, is there something out there that like people were browbeating you into watching and then you're grumpy about it, but wow, they were right. So for me, I'm going to bring up the TV show Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was a cartoon from Nickelodeon, and Nickelodeon, the network for 5-year-olds. And I'm like, everyone was nagging me to watch it for years. I'm like, well, why the hell? And so finally one night I sit down, watch it with my roommate, the first episode. I'm kind of apologizing to him as we turn it on. And then we watch 6 episodes in a row that night. You know, how about those experiences, guys? Have you got a movie or TV show that just you were dead set against and you were wrong?
Andor for me. I think it's because I'm one of the idiots who didn't like Rogue One at all. And so the whole Cassian Andor character is from that movie. They made a show about him as a prequel, and I just wasn't into it. I wasn't into it. And then finally my cousin was like, trust me. And I was like, okay, well, I do trust you. And I watched it and it was fantastic.
Everybody says that about Andor.
Oh, and so timely.
Yeah. Which is partially why it's fantastic, honestly.
Yeah.
Trevor, you should remind me.
Honey Pie. I don't know. For you, I can think of The Good Place.
Oh, okay. Once I got past season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of shows have like a rough season 1, don't they? And then they figure it out after that.
Yeah, in my case, it wasn't. I don't think it's the show's fault. I think it's just my persnickettiness about certain tropes that at least that season 1 is full of. And so it wasn't the show's fault.
The Good Place is a weird one because it sets up itself as a silly, whimsical sitcom, and then it delivers actual thoughtful content that can make you think if you're willing to lean into it.
Yeah.
All right. How about musicians or live performances? Something you weren't looking forward to or anything like that?
I mean, I was just going to say like going to concerts, because I'd been to like a concert once, like a Fall Out Boy Christmas concert in Chicago, like way back. And I was like, I don't like concerts. And then when we saw Lizzo and Stevie Nicks, I was like, okay, I get it. Stevie Nicks, I think almost more so because seeing her stage presence and like immediate, like it was almost like a wave went over the audience. Like she just like, you saw everyone fall under her thrall immediately.
The Stevie Nicks one for me, especially because, you know, I knew who she was and I was more familiar with just Fleetwood Mac, which I really am a fan of. But I was like, oh yeah, like Trevor wants to go see Stevie Nicks, and of course, like let's go see a concert together, and Michael got to go too, and that was more the reason why I was on board it. But then, as Trevor said, as soon as Stevie Nicks comes out, I have this really like crystal clear moment of, oh fuck, she's a rock star.
Yeah,
you feel it. Age is just a number, because as soon as she steps out, she has the whole audience in the palm of her hand, and it was incredible. It was such a great show.
Well, absolutely, like that was my experience at the Salzburg Opera.
Yes.
100% parallel.
Much the same.
So I was in Salzburg many years ago, about a decade ago, for too many days. The chub that I was supposed to meet there, who was also going to come, then it was like that rendezvous where I'd come and he would come, and he ghosted me.
Jesus.
So I'm in Salzburg for way too many days. So I'm like, okay, well, I should definitely see opera while I'm in Vienna. And what's playing? Oh, crap. Not Mozart, which you would think in Salzburg they would have. No, the current production on the boards was Wozzeck, which, of course, you know, but I'll review anyway.
You know, David's out there going, oh, yes, of course.
Well, of course, no, he really is. Like, if you're into classical music, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So Wozzeck is based on a really whacked out early modernist play turned into an opera by atonal composer Alban Berg. And exactly, are you excited yet? And so the opera is right there for me. I'm not a big fan of atonality. It is not what I have chosen to see. So I'm like, okay, I like hold my nose and buy a ticket. And so I go. I am blown away. The staging, the singing, and guess what? The music. I, for the first time in my life, got why would anyone even remotely tolerate atonal music? This was gorgeous. And it's so completely worked. And, you know, it could be the marriage of, you know, theme and music, because if anything's going to be atonal, it's going to be Wozzeck. And oh my God, it was gorgeous. And I just left transfixed and transformed.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now David's going to write me a lot about this. As he should.
All right. The last question, I think this is more for everyone but Michael.
Okay.
A sporting event. Like, have you ever gone to a sport? Like, I know for me, if I'm going to a sporting event, I am just going to be like, oh, God, help me, and have the worst attitude about it. But have you ever gone? And so unfortunately, the one example I have of this, it wasn't just slimed. I was expecting to be candied. I had the most amazing seats.
For what?
To see the Lakers basketball team here in Los Angeles. I had floor seats through a company I was working with. I was right next to the court. I heard the sneakers squeaking next to me. I had one layer of heads between me and the court.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. And it was so wasted on me. Like, I just couldn't care less. You know, I'm like, oh yeah, they're throwing a ball around. Oh, he's bouncing the ball. Yay.
I will say that there is a weird, there's a weird dissonance that happens. I think in any hyper professional environment where you're seeing like pros, but sports in particular, when you can get that close to the people doing it, it requires you to know more about what's happening to appreciate. Where like if you're watching it on TV, it's like, oh, it's on TV. It's in the right spot. It's it makes sense there. Or like you're up in the rafters. But when you're actually right next to somebody doing incredible things, but you don't really know enough about them to appreciate it, it's going to fall flat, I think.
Yeah. Like if I had those seats for like Cirque du Soleil, I would have been on cloud 9 in watching those physical feats. But the basketball being passed around back and forth, I didn't get it.
Yeah. The only thing I have similar to that is I'm really not a sports guy, like super not. And I was blown away by sumo. I know. You think, well, of course you're a chaser, Dan. Of course you like sumo. No, that's not why I like it. It's just, it was the most incredible high-speed action. A match lasts 30 seconds and it's literally breathtaking. Yeah. And I never expected to feel that way about a sporting event.
All right, folks. I know I say this at the end of every episode, but for real, if you have a candied moment that you'd like to share with us.
Oh, yes.
Trevor, where could they do that?
We're on Blue Sky and Instagram as @BigFatGayPod. We're on Facebook as the Big Fat Gay Podcast. Leave us 5 stars there. Leave us 5 stars and a review on your preferred podcast platform. Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/BigFatGayPod. See the articles we talked about at www.bigfatgaypod.com, baby.
Yay.
Well, maybe you're not Michael, but you're on his cruise and you're listening to the podcast and you're on your little pill Beats device and you're kind of bopping along to the ending music by the railing, and then it falls off like that one video.
Oh no!
And you just hear it falls into the ocean, and now you're a fish. You've transformed, and you're listening, and you're waiting for the underwater. Watch.